thrilled to be here. And I'm going to just get to it and bring everybody out. The creators of the show, Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa, Lindsay Calhoon Bring, Bailee Madison, Chandler Kinney, Zaria, Malia Pyles, and Mallory Bechtel. Rarely do I get to have therapy with everyone in one room. This is exciting. And we are on a time session, just like in any therapist's office. We'll be holding up some cue cards, and then we'll have a session of a discussion, and then we will have some Q&A for the audience. How do you feel?
We're so excited to be here.
Great. I mean,
this is the nicest movie theater the show has ever been screened in.
I want to start there because as I was watching up in the mezzanine, like, this is beautiful on a big screen. It is so beautiful. I noticed the production design, everything, the hair and makeup, the wardrobe, everything is just so stellar. You guys did a good job.
Thank you. Thank you, Annabeth. We couldn't agree more.
Yes.
Well, that's a really nice thing for us to have a chance to thank our amazing crew, our beautiful, of course, cast who shine on screen, but we have an incredible crew who brought the show to life, and it's so beautiful, and we're so proud of it.
As you should be. It's so beautiful. This episode, I think we'll just start right in with this one, which is, I mean, first of all, how did you coordinate it that it would be Pride Month? Right?
Happy Pride!
Happy Pride Month!
Happy Pride!
Happy accident is right. It's perfectly timed. Perfectly timed. You guys, I want to go down and talk about how in this season in particular, this episode, you have to literally walk through your own trauma, right? Bailee, let's start with you. This certainly cannot be an easy season of television, nor this episode. Start with your preparation.
First of all, it's so crazy that Annabeth is doing this. Because like 50% of me is like, this is our friend Annabeth. The other 50% is like, am I in therapy?
Well,
guys, can we give a round of applause?
Please,
Annabeth.
We're so lucky.
Literally subbing in at the last second.
Yeah. We were, Annabeth appreciation, and then I'll answer it. We were so incredibly lucky to have her with us this season, and we love her so, so much. In terms of preparation for this episode, I mean, we're so grateful and lucky as a cast to be sent pages and scripts week after week from Roberto and Lindsay and our incredible writing team. Where so much of the emotion and so much of the story is already there on the paper, and at times it even just chokes me up when I'm reading the words. And so there were a couple scenes in there. I remember for one specific example, it's the scene between Imogen and Johnny when she's referencing and reliving the trauma within finding her mom. And that was something that I don't think I've seen on TV before. A chance to actually go into the horror and the permanent damage that's done to her mind. And I think showcases Imogen's inner workings in such a beautiful light. But I think it's just trying to honor the material the best you can, doing the research. I mean, Hell Houses really do exist. I was unaware of it and became aware due to reading the script. And that was something that took me completely, not by surprise, because you know that terrible things happen still in this world and that exists, but the fact that it still happens so loudly and so vividly really, really struck me. So I think it was trying to do the honest work with telling that story and making a point to use this show and this lens as a vessel to try to share stories that matter and teach people. And we get to do that within the funness of the show, which is such a joy. But I always have these girls to like lean on and to help me through those moments and give me that peace and time on set. So I feel very, very grateful. It takes a village. It's a team. So preparations within the team and the village.
Palpable. And I think, Chandler, your character really gets to, you go through trauma, but you see so much tenderness and joy in your relationship. That's some healing, right? Don't you think I feel like the relationship between you and Noah is amazing.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I love seeing Tabby in this light this season. I think so much of this journey for her is rediscovering her voice and stepping into her power, and also learning how to trust again, after going through several very traumatic experiences. And I think Noah, who plays Christian, he definitely is a tool in that. He gives her a soft landing, a place to let down her guard, and and really confide in him and lean on him. It's no secret that Tabby loves movies. You didn't catch that. She's quite the cinephile.
She'd be very happy here in this theater, right?
Guys, I was just thinking,
nicer
she
than
would
the
just
RPM.
she would have a field day. No, but I think I think so much of the season is like stepping back into those spaces, like behind the camera, and when she's writing and storytelling and being in the Orpheum, and reframing. I think a lot of her love and passion for what she does, and he plays a huge part in that. He helps her find the joy in what she does again, and it's used as an outlet, but it's also used as a way to express herself and have fun and bring her voice to the table. So it's quite the journey for her, and I'm excited for the latter half of the season, because she has some challenges coming up and some fun, and that's all I'll say.
And Zaria, you are a badass this season.
Oh, hi.
You are fierce and strong, and talk to us about your preparation for this season, because you're just fierce and unapologetically so. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Really, really, you have no idea. That means so much because of who you are, and also, who you are. So it's, I'll be thinking of that for a long time. I think I've described this feeling of Farron feeling like she's falling all season. And that was really hard for me as an actor. I felt a lot of those times, there was one time, I have not shared this yet, and these two women have been so kind. They probably already know what I'm going to say, but I was having a hard day on set, and I just went to their trailer, and I said, I don't know if I'm even Farron anymore. Yeah.
Wait, say that again. You don't know if you were...
So I went into their trailer after a scene, and it was a hard day. And, this journey of Farron, I think, especially for this season, is she didn't know who she was. And so that was so new to me. How do you play someone that doesn't even know who they are and knows they don't know who they are, And so a lot of my preparation was in letting go and finding all the time. And it's funny because we're on this conversation of trauma, and I was thinking of Hell House and how it was interesting because the room that really upsets Farron the most is the room where people are not accepted for being who they are. And that, to me, like, I get chills is how they wrote that. It's so what would upset her. It's so what hurts her, because there's nothing in the world worse than not being accepted for who you are. And, this is actually my first time seeing this episode. It was purposeful. I wanted to watch it here. And the scene with you and Jordan, I'm not saying it just to say it made me cry, I really enjoy the show. I love being on this show. Please bring me back another season.
Well, Malia, I think that's a beautiful entree into talking about your experience. Again, it was the tenderness there. And I think Mouse is also finding her own survivability. She is also a badass in her own way.
Happy Pride, everybody. Woo! How cool is this? To all that celebrate, I love you. I'm also having fun celebrating with all of you guys. No, but it's really cool and really special. I think any opportunity to showcase Pride, and any opportunity I've ever had to get to really represent my community and do that in a way that feels authentic to me and to people I know in my real life is really, really special. And I think, I think for Mouse, it's like, of course, she has been in her digital world, which is her comfort zone, and she's been spearheading Spooky Spaghetti. And I think it's been a great asset.
Say that 10 more times.
Guys, by the way, there was this vignette when we were destroying things in the Hell House. Originally, like the dialogue said, I just go in there and say spooky spaghetti, spooky spaghetti, spooky spaghetti. And so we filmed it, and I remember I filmed it, and I went spooky spaghetti, spooky spaghetti, and it just.
I actually have that video from the monitor, and with Malia's permission, I will release it.
Oh
in the
yes,
world.
release it into
Really
the wild.
brilliant.
We have to. No, but she is obsessed with spooky spaghetti, and it's like, I think it's cool that there is an opportunity for her to mobilize her people around her to fight something that's not just. Of course, it's related to her trauma, but it's like she has to make action for Ash and for the queer people in her community, which is so important. And, you know, even me and Jordan had like endless conversations about this because he went to a Catholic school growing up, and he was like very familiar with hell houses and like just depictions of hate in that way. And of course, like with legislation changing and just the really hard years that the trans community has gone through, it was really special. It was really, really special and really important. And I thank Roberto and Lindsay endlessly for bringing that to TV. And that's what I love about the show is like we can have fun and we can make jokes and we can scream our little heads off, but we're also like we're getting to highlight these things that a lot of people and a lot of shows are too scared to touch. And yeah, I'm really grateful.
I'm going to address these two in a second after we finish with Mallory, because they're the courage and like you guys pack a punch. You're not shy, so we're going to get to that in a second. But Mallory, let's talk about your job, because you have a hard role this season because you play someone who is a catalyst for hate, right? For provoking a lot of sometimes, you know, religious fervor at cultism and all of that. So, but you play it so honestly and believably. Speak to how hard it is to do that.
It is hard. This episode specifically, they all know. I was so nervous about. And the first time I read what Kelly does in the Redemption House, like my heart just dropped. But luckily, I'm so thankful for it. They make it easier because Roberto and Lindsay, that scene I have with Zaria and Bailee, that scene doesn't have to exist. And I'm so thankful that they are providing like a real, what's going on with Kelly. She's had so much going on this year and she's terrified. And, it goes back to season 1 where she was the one who had this Carrie idea to put Karen up in the rafters. And I think she's just still walking around with so much guilt and she feels responsible for everything going wrong in her life. And obviously she's also lost her father too. And so it makes it, it's crazy. I mean, it's nuts, obviously what she does, but it's not the hugest leap in my mind. And I thank Roberto and Lindsay for that she feels responsible, like she needs to save this town. And she's terrified. And so, yeah, it was hard, but I had like the dialogue was there and I felt very supported.
And you and Bailee were talking about the scene too in the bedroom, in her mom's bedroom in Redemption House. How difficult that is to play.
Oh yeah, the scene when I go in screaming at her.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, that one. I mean, Mallory, I always say like, with all of the girls, this sentence rings true, and I'm like, an actor's dream is if like a really good game of tennis, like you have an opponent in front of you and like the ball's like 10 times harder than you thought it would be and you're still going. It's like this amazing rally, and I feel that so deeply in ways with the girls next to me. And I mean, I've said that with Mallory because first season we had a lot of those kind of moments of push and pull together, and like what a dream to try to navigate scenes like that with.
Any villain has redemptive. Anyone who does something villainous, I think. So, okay, Roberto and Lindsay. Now it's your turn. I give you guys so much credit for the intensity of the subject matter that you bring, especially this season 2, is it's daunting, but you didn't shy away from it. teenage pregnancy, suicide, cultism, trans, pride, everything is like completely on the table. Rape. We do not shy away from anything. Are you afraid of any of your subject matter? Were you afraid to bring this to the table?
No. I mean, it's funny. We were talking about this earlier. Originally, the idea of doing a Hell House episode, Lindsay, we talked about this. It came up in season 1, and we kind of showed some uncharacteristic restraint and said, you know what, that could actually be a bigger story. So we saved it for season 2. And then realized as we were working season 2, it would be kind of a trial by fire for all of the girls to kind of go through.
It's a beautiful metaphor.
So it's something that does go back to season 1.
Yeah, I don't think we ever talked about being scared, or we talked about a responsibility to tell the stories as best we could without sensationalizing anything, without fetishizing anything, and honoring all of those stories. And we love to have fun. We love the humor. We know that we have such an amazing caliber of actors that can manage humor and heavy at the same time. And so that gives us a freedom and permission to write these stories. But we also wanted to reflect the world that we're living in. And we're telling a story about young people, and we're telling a horror story. And this to us, from the beginning, from season 1, we talked about the fun of horror, but also the grounded horrors that young people face today. And this episode, I think, highlights so many of them. And we also wanted to juxtapose darkness with joy, which is why it was really important in a Hell House episode to show celebration. And I'm glad you brought up Jordan, and we're all talking about Jordan. He's so incredible. We love him so much. And he has such a powerful story this episode, and has such a POV and such a strong voice. So I think it's less fear and more, we almost give ourselves permission to, you know what, let's tell the stories we want to tell and the stories that affect us. And let's hope that somebody watches these and feels seen by it.
Well, I think a lot of people are watching compared to, when you see how what it's ranked on Max, right? It's like in the top 10 for all 5-6 weeks.
That's you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Let's talk about Bloody Rose. First of all, who is she? Don't tell anybody. No.
Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa.
I want to ask how you came up with her as a horror villain, and then go ask each one of you what you thought at the end of this episode. Yeah, with the reveal of who Bloody Rose is. Is it a reveal?
Well, we started when we started the writers' room for season 2. Lindsay and I went on a road trip before the writers' room, and we were kind of spitballing ideas for season 2. And we do tons of research. Obviously, we all love horror movies, so we've seen every horror movie or try to. And we were really taken with this documentary about the Slender Man, who was kind of like an internet, horror villain, and that the Slender Man kind of existed in this space where it was sort of like folklore, but also slasher. And is the Slender Man real, or is the Slender Man a myth? And we kind of wanted a villain that was sort of existed in that spot. And we both love Friday the 13th movies, and we love that in Friday the 13th, it begins with Jason's mother, and then Jason is the killer. We had begun with Archie, and we thought, Archie's mother should be the villain. So that's kind of how we got to Bloody Rose.
Yeah, no, 100%. And we look at our series as a horror franchise. So we thought season 1 is the first movie, season 2 was part 2. And so we went on a binge watch of every part 2 horror movie, and we were so excited to have a summer set piece and lean into summer horror and have so much fun with the slasher there. And we were kind of talking about our favorite horror icons, and in Hellraiser 2, which might seem non-related to PLL or Friday the 13th Summer, but in Hellraiser 2, the villain is Julia Cotton, who, happy Pride to Julia, because we consider her a queer icon. She is this like faceless skinless woman, this like murderer of men who walks around in a blue evening gown and jewelry, and it's like she's fabulous. So who's the and we were like, well, I don't know that bloody. I feel like what's the Millwood version of Julia Cotton? Julia Cotton's very Rosewood. She's the OG PLL, and we thought Bloody Rose thrifts. So she's our Millwood Julia Cotton. So. We were just having so much fun with building her. And I know I mentioned our crew earlier, but we had many conversations with our prop department, with our costume department, with our hair and makeup department to really build the look of her.
And I wish we had the original sketch for Bloody Rose. She's come a long way.
Yeah.
The original sketch, we were like, huh?
No.
Like, in our head, guys.
Because it wasn't scary enough, or
I mean, it was.
It was like a mugshot of a strung out woman.
For first grade, it was so funny. It was like, we can push this.
Yeah. It was like a hair sticking through a mummy face, and we were like, this is a good start.
Right. What did you think? Who did you think Bloody Rose was throughout like this whole season?
Oh.
Super scared to answer this question.
Yeah.
What am I
Respectfully, next,
Okay,
please.
moving on. Okay.
Fifth.
Yeah. I mean, what did you guys think of the reveal?
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of feelings. Same, babe. Same. Always. Yeah. We love Carly Pope too.
I can't see what is that sign?
Wrap it up already.
Oh, it says wrap up.
Oh.
Shit, that was fast. Okay.
Rapid fire.
Time
We were going to
flies.
say
Rapid
who
fire.
Bloody Rose is, but we have to move forward.
Okay, right.
Quick round.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Who would be the one on this cast who would be the most to pull pranks on set?
What did you say?
Pranks on
Pull
set.
pranks.
Oh,
Chandler.
Okay.
It's all right. Chandler wore a hell mask, and was in my trailer, and I
Like
fell
a
down my
creep.
trailer steps. she came out of the trailer door and scared the shit out of me.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the scariest thing that happened on set? That.
Ooh, that for Bailee.
I stepped on a thumbtack.
Oh my God, I pulled it out. It was in the middle of a scene. I was like, 1, 2, 3, shh. Yeah.
Who has a question? There are 2 mics, you can either just come form a line and we'll.
Oh, this is
Love
fun.
that.
Let's do that. I think we have our first question. Go ahead.
Hi. So, big fan. What would you say are the advantages of getting to finally embrace the horror themes in a world where, like, A always sort of was a horror villain and should have been a horror villain, and also exploring queer themes within the past few seasons? Something is a question in there. Thank you.
Here, I'll take all. One, I think we're huge horror buffs. Roberto and I bonded over our love of horror. I know a lot of our cast loves horror as well. And, the original PLL, which we're fans of, it really... It wasn't a delicious, amazing nighttime soap, but it flirted with horror. Girls were tied to train tracks, and Dr. Sullivan was once believed to have been buried alive. So we had a lot of fun with that, and I think being on a platform like Max gave us permission to go darker. The fact that our girls can curse, the fact that we can stab a man in the eye and have gore on a knife. These are things that are so fun to us. And again, not to reiterate, but I think being able to tell real stories, grounded stories about the real horrors that young people go through, and especially in our show that young women go through, and be able to heighten that with real slasher horror just felt like a fun space to tell great stories. And then in terms of being able to tell queer stories, I know we have a lot of queer writers in our room. I'm like Greg, and am an ally. So I'm an ally. Roberto,
No, I mean, it's so funny. Like this episode in particular, I remember Lindsay was running the writer's room. I had stepped away, and I came back in, and Lindsay's like, "We have a great idea for the Hell House episode." And I'm like, "Great!" And she's like, "It should also be a Pride episode." And I was like, "Of course, of course." And no, it's incredibly. I mean, I think, a lot of us have worked on these youth shows. We love youth shows, and representation is so important. It's something that a lesson that I've learned, we've all learned over and over again. So that was a big deal from the conception of the show, and it is so nice to have an episode, and I think Malia, you said this beautifully, where the PLLs aren't just fighting a villain, but they're fighting for someone they love and for a community they love, and this is kind of the only episode where basically the horror plot almost stops completely for a big everyone come together to rally around this thing. So it's a really special episode. So it's really cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I think we know who's next.
Hi. What's your name?
Maria.
Hi, Maria.
Hi. I just want to say all of you guys are really gorgeous and talented. I love all of y'all's work that I've seen. This question is for Mallory. So obviously we've seen what Kelly does in this episode. Do you think that there's going to be any form of redemption for Kelly herself?
What can I say? I think it's a likely possibility. Never say never. But also anything can happen on this show. That's really, yep. That's my non-answer answer. But we'll watch episodes 7 and 8 to find out the official answer.
Do you feel like characters like Imogen are kind of destroying relationships that are crucial to her support system? Like in the past few episodes, I feel like, especially with her dad and her new stepmom threatening to cut off her finger.
Right. That did happen. I remember that. Yeah.
I feel
Oh,
like
like,
she needs-
wait. Imogen did something wrong? Hold on.
Me too. Hold on. Are you coming at my girl right now?
Security.
Bailey's going to take that question.
Okay. So just so it's clear, Imogen,
Yes.
A
right?
little defensive.
Okay.
I feel like she needs a good support system, and she keeps kind of destroying those relationships.
Well, I mean, I don't know if she's like.
She's got her girls.
Yeah,
She's got her girls.
No, I think if you actually look at the relationships that she like is possibly hindering, I don't really care about her dad's new fiance, and I'm like, she could have cut her finger off, and
Rightfully so.
maybe it was justified, you know. But I think that trauma, I think that pain, I think that there's no right way, I think there's no wrong way, and I think what the show does so well, and as an actor, like what's such a joy to play is to have a young woman who's just navigating and trying and impulsively reacting and apologizing for it. Yes, sometimes not apologizing for it. And I think that the season has set it up really well. She's going through a lot of grief. She's on medication. She's hallucinating. She's trying. She's doing her best to put one foot in front of the other. And I'm like so glad that I get to have scenes like that. So I stand by her. I'm like,
She's great.
thank you.
I relate. I just want her to like
Chill.
chill. Yeah.
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 But
Healing
also-
is messy.
But also, I love it.
Yeah,
Also,
calm
just-
down a little.
Also, just to jump in,
Please.
I think on a show like this, ultimately, each of the PLL's ultimate support group is their friend group.
Each other.
That's what the show. That's
Yeah.
kind of what the secret and not so secret story of the show is, that the girls are always there. It feels like they're always in the bathroom comforting Imogen, who's like crying in the biggest bathroom ever.
Totally. And your best friend, when you're most unhinged, your best friends are like, "No, girl, you're okay." And it's like what they should be saying is like, "We need to fix it." It's like, no, you can do no wrong.
It's always dumb bitches telling each other exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Allie.
Hi, Allie.
I've been a fan of Bailee since Wizards of Waverly Place. Shout out.
Thanks, Allie.
So I just had a question. If you had to pick an original PLL character that your character is most like, who would you pick and why?
For me.
Yes, Bailee. Sorry.
I was like, what would we pick? I don't know. I actually would like to say that I feel like Imogen actually genuinely has a blend of each liar. I think that there's something to her. I think there's like the need for information, which comes from Spencer. I think that there's like the heart, which comes from like Arya. There's like a quickness and a fire with Hannah and Emily. Well, maybe not Emily. I'm like trying to figure out. I'm like Shay and I. No, because Shay was pretty. Emily was kind of like. No, I think Spencer, Arya, and Hannah.
I would agree.
Are like a mesh of the three, because they all were like they all had like they went a little crazy at one point or another.
Yeah, they all had their crazy moments.
Yeah.
That's why we love them, though.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Allie.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Frankie. This question is for Roberto. Would you ever consider bringing back the black hoodie for like future seasons?
Wait, for what?
For future seasons?
Possibly. I mean, it's funny. It's like, you know, there's this funny Easter egg of Riverdale in this episode where Greg is revealed to be Kevin's cousin. Again, I feel like I left the writer's room and I came in. They're like, great new idea. Kevin is Greg's cousin. It's like, okay. It feels like that might be almost too direct a link. We love our Easter eggs on this show. And it feels like we're still building the mythology of this iteration of PLL. So maybe not, but love the intertextuality between the show.
Thank you.
I wanted to start off and say, man, like, first of all, like, really big props on trying to find an original horror villain. Like, you know what I mean? So I like how y'all did your homework. That's cool to hear, like, not just trying to, like, copy and paste. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. And then I did have a question for Bailee. So, yeah, I know you're getting all the attention tonight.
Silly.
So, for Imogen's character, because there's a lot of trauma, as you're discussing right now, can you walk me through a little bit of, like, that process of when they said, like, okay, action, and then going into that character, and then also you're, like, come down from that character, like, mentally, maybe emotionally?
That's a really thoughtful question that I think all of us like appreciate so much. I would say I think every scene is different. I think you have to approach every scene differently. Sometimes it's like it's so chaotic on set, and you honestly don't have a lot of time to try to like slip into it, and you just have to trust it and try it, and then leave it on the floor and walk away and go into the next scene the best that you can. I have to give like so much props and so much credits. I spent most of my career with like adults. This is the first time in my life that I've been able to like stand alongside people in my age and in my world who are so strong and so talented and so fierce with their choices, and who create such a safe space for me. I remember, like, in terms of, let's say, getting into a moment, like, the best scene is to talk about the scene with all of them, which was the bathroom scene. And I, like, sometimes will listen to music. There's this one song that I'll sometimes listen to, and I did. And Maggie, who's an incredible director, she directed that episode. And the whole crew, it was, like, early into starting the season, and there was just a tone that basically said, like, we're all here together. We're all here to make something special. Whatever our crew needs, whatever we need, we're a unit. And the same goes with the girls. And I just remember there was just such a level of like tender love and care and check-ins and the space to be held, and having each frame, because there's so much coverage that's done, they were with me every single second of it. And that is the greatest gift that an actor can have, is that when the lens isn't on them, that they're still pushing you and with you in the moment. And for that, I'm like so grateful to be alongside of them. And then the come down like process, first season, I didn't do it very well. And second season, I think we all came in and we really held on tight to one another. And, you know, supports through FaceTime on a phone. And then I get to literally play house with my best friends for 10 months. And what a joy that is.
And I can attest to the fact that this sisterhood is real, because coming in, shooting in Beacon, everybody was kind of living in the same compound loft. And it was like a compound, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like our Mother of Holy Grace. It's like Redemption House up there,
and
for sure.
And it's just a beautiful thing to see actresses bond as family. Frozen yogurt, game night. It was just a blast.
Game night at mine.
Yeah, I didn't want to like single out, but obviously y'all's performance was great too. It was just about like the delving into that character for that one. But everyone else, without words.
Appreciate you.
I have that same question.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Watching.